Hello and welcome to the webinar. Today's webinar is going to be on importing mating recommendations into your uniform program. So we'll show you how you can import those in and also how you can enter them manually. So first of all, to enter them manually, if you go to the cow's head and then service bulls, you've got the breeding planner here, number 8. So if we click on that one, this gives you a list of all your animals here. As you can see at the top, I've got number 11 and there's the first sire choice there against her, the second sire choice and the third sire choice. You've got the new button at the bottom, so if you click on new, to enter your mating recommendations manually, you can filter down the animals by their age. So just tick the relevant boxes and then press the next button. You can also just enter the mating recommendations for the young stock only if you wish, or for the open animals. Tick the status that you would like to enter the mating recommendations against. Press next again. And then you can enter the sires to use. So if you wanted to use the sires that were only marked suitable for young stock, you would tick that tick box there. That's as an example on how to bring up the sires that you want to use, and then press next. The calculation method, we're manually inputting this information now. So then press next again. And then you've got these tick boxes, which if you leave ticked, that would help you when you're doing your mating recommendations. And then press next again. And now this brings you back all of the animals that you've selected in the previous screen. So here I've only got the young stock animals. I've got the first sire choice column here, second sire choice, and the third sire choice. So what's important to remember, which is crucial, is whenever you're doing importing, or if you're manually entering mating recommendations, and that's to have those bulls in your program already. If you're trying to import bull information on bulls that aren't currently in your program, then it's not going to work for you. They need to be in there already. So for the top animal here, we've got number 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first sire choice, if you click on the square in the AI code box, you then are brought back a list of the bulls there. So you can select who the first sire choice would be. And again, click in the AI code column of the second sire choice. Click on that square with the dots and you can select who the second sire choice is, and so on for the third. If you only want to fill out the first sire choice, you can. You don't have to fill out all 3. So if you wanted to put just one sire choice for an animal, you can do. And then you can work your way down that list and then press finish. So here we've got number 1, 2, 3, 4 down the list, young stock, and we've got our 3 choices in there, and then the animal after, which is where we only put the first sire in there. That one's in there as well. If you have got the sires filled out here in the breeding planner, or when you do import your mating recommendations in, if you go into the animal record just by double clicking and go to the actual tab, you'll see at the bottom left the mating recommendations are there against that animal record. So that would be how you would manually enter the sire mating recommendations manually in your program. To import mating recommendations in, again, important to remember that those balls have to be in your uniform program. The file type that you can import into Uniform has to be a CSV file type. If you are trying to import a different file type and you're having problems, then you can save the file as a CSV if you've got it in Excel. If you've got it in an Excel spreadsheet, if you do file, save as, and then CSV, you'll then be able to import that information in. To import that into your uniform program, go to the cow's head and then to links, and you've got here import mating recommendation. Click on the import mating recommendation, and then you have got the list of organizations here. So if you are using CMEX, you would tick the CMEX box. If the organization you're using isn't listed, just tick the other box at the bottom. Make sure that blue dot's in there, and then press next. Then you would find that CSV file with the mating recommendations in. So click on the add button and then just search for that file that you've got in your uniform program. So if I show you how to save the CSV, so here's my Excel spreadsheet. It's in an Excel format, so if I go save a copy and then change the file type to CSV there at the end, and then save, make sure this file's closed, and then I've got the file here as a CSV. Go into add, CSV, open, and then next. And what this section here means, these are all the columns. So this column 1, field 1, these are my animal numbers. Field 2, this is the first sire recommendation. Field 3 is the second sire, and field 4 is the third. So if we click next, you then have to select the type. So field 1, that's my animal number. So from the drop down, you would then select animal number, and you're just marrying up what each column stands for. So field 2, we've got the AI code for the first recommendation. Field 3, this would be the second, and you would have to do this only once, and then when you go to import again, you can just double check that the information still falls as the correct field types against your AI codes and animal number, etc. And then press finish. So you're telling the system that these columns stand for that information. So now we've imported that information in. We've got green ticks here, which means that the information can be imported without any problems. We have got a red cross here, and that's because that first ball was not in our uniform program, and it tells us at the right here, first ball not found. So what you can do is you can add that ball in and reread in the file, or what you can do is, if you wanted to select first sire from the list that you do have in your uniform program, just click that square next to that box. So we've got first ball column at the top here, second ball and third ball, and then select the correct animal. This top line here, this is because this was on our spreadsheet. It's not actually an animal. It says animal not found, but that was just the name of the column header. So we've got all these animals here that we want to import. We've got green ticks against them all now. And then we're going to select Save Recommendations. You've got a message here that just states, do you want to save the recommendations? And that this incomplete one at the top will not be saved. Just press yes, and then it successfully saved those 11 out of those 12 ticks and crosses there. So as you can see here, we've got number 1674, and it's got these 3 ball recommendations here. So when you do go to serve your animals after importing the mating recommendations, and you go to the insemination type and the AI code there, it will bring up those mating recommendations first. So here I've got number 1, number 2, number 3. So my first, second, and third mating recommendations are displaying automatically. If you want to deviate away from these, you can, and that's just by ticking the Show Actual Balls, and then that will bring up your list of balls in your program. Again, you can untick that and then just select the first mating recommendation, and then carry on putting in the rest of the information for that insemination there. So what we've gone through this afternoon is how you can manually input mating recommendations, and also importing mating recommendations from a CSV file, and how you can save your Excel file as a CSV, so it's then able to be imported into your program. If you've got any questions, do feel free to type them in, and we'll address these as they come in. Now you have got a question section, so if you type them in,